It says I'm connected. Okay. All right. So I don't really know what's going on, but it looks like it's working now. Um, yeah. So I've been. Sorry, I'm working on the stream while I'm doing this, which is. What was I going to say? I'm trying to make sure I'm doing this right. I also want to have the chat open. But I basically been working on artwork, doing my cryptoween all month. Haven't done today's actually. I'm really behind. I got to do that. Knuck Levy. I was doing the sketching for it, so I've got some great ideas. Probably what I'm gonna do right before bed. However, this is supposed to be. This is something new I'm working on. It spins pretty well. The only reason why it's not working perfectly is because the way I have this set up. But I also don't know if I've totally. I had to take it apart. I don't think I successfully glued it back together. Oh no, it's good. So if I hold it like that, does that work? That works pretty nicely, actually. I have to just figure out the back a little bit and then shave that part off. This is supposed to be the Space Marine from Doom. I don't know why I got this idea. So my friend Deb, who runs she's like my point person at the Nails in the Wall gallery in the Touchin, has this like 3 themed um, art show. And I thought, oh, that'd be kind of neat to do something that moves that in thirds. So I got this idea. This isn't the only idea I'm working on, but I'm kind of enjoying this. But I don't know. There's something about the band. Maybe I didn't add enough glue. That might be part of the reason why. But I gotta figure out how to more securely connect that. I think I just need to add more glue. Or that maybe I didn't glue it on purpose so that I didn't have to worry about it. Knowing me, that's something I would have done. So until I get the actual yeah, originally it was like rubbing and it was vibrating and falling off the wall. But now it's working pretty well, but it's not totally secure yet. Part of me also feels like I kind of want to change the face a little bit. Um, However, I don't know. I've always loved that game, Doom. As someone who was raised Catholic, it has just a level of like mythology that kind of tickles my sci-fi loving brain and my Catholic indoctrination as a child. So I don't know. It's kind of neat. Also, it's like the first real video game to give me nightmares when I was a kid. So that's fun. I'm working on another one. Actually, I wanted to working on another piece where instead of arms moving around, it's going to have 2 eyes and a third eye, and they're going to change colors as you spin an internal circle. But I think I left the internal circle in the car because I brought it with me to work to try and like map out the pattern of the eyes, the circle that actually moves, the field of color essentially that's going to be behind my monster's eyes. But I'm really kind of digging this one. I think this is going to be kind of neat. I had been streaming on Twitch for the past few weeks, but I don't have any viewers on Twitch. And I have like 93 subscribers here on YouTube. So I feel like I'm shouting into the void. Although what was nice about Twitch is that I could just port it right over to YouTube. So I'm trying to use OBS to record and then maybe cut these streams down to stuff that's like more digestible, maybe only 10 minutes long versus my usual like full stream. But we'll see. I don't know. I might even add stuff to it. But yeah, that's where we are. I'm thinking eventually working one of these into the next iteration of Cryptid Mountain, which of course is all still kind of up in the air. I just love I like the idea of like a painting that moves, that's meant to move. So we'll see how that goes. I've had to add some like, this is literally like the lid to a, what was this like whipped topping. I put them on the back and the front, and there's like a little plastic straw around the wooden piece to cut down on friction. You know, I hold on to a lot of garbage just because you never know. But because I forgot the field of color, we're going to be working on a Jersey Devil today in honor of the Devil and Daisy Dirt, which I don't know if is actually going to be. They're doing something in what do you call it? Homedale? One of those towns, Central Jersey towns. I can never remember the name of. I'm going to say Homedale. No, it's not Homedale. That's the one I can think of. Hillsborough? I don't know. But so I thought, hey, let's do a little. Let's have a little fun with our Jersey Devil guy. This is one of the ones I meant to finish for the Touch and Pops and just never got there. So I'm going to add some color to this bad boy. It definitely has some pieces on here that I need to try and like fix, but oh my gosh, all of this dried up on me. That's all right. I'm gonna hit it with a peach undertone first. I've been kind of messing around with colors a lot lately. I don't know. I really feel like I have a terrible sense of color. I don't have a naturally good sense of color, like what colors look good with what, and I feel like I have to spend so much time, so much of my time while painting is trial and error, going like, oh, this looks like garbage. What did I do wrong? And it's not like, oh, I'm not saying, oh, the artwork looks bad. I think the artwork still looks good, but you know, I'm at the point where I can't totally always figure in my head how I want these things to look when I'm done. So a lot of this is like trial by error. Oh, I should not have painted those teeth. Those are white, nice and white to begin with. Oh well, I'll fix those later. But you know, like we all have our strengths, and my strengths are. I'll get back to you on what my strengths are, but I know I have them. I want to say it's creativity, but I don't really think that that's like fair. Like, what do you mean? What does that even mean? It sounds so vague. I'm my secret superpowers. I'm a good person. Like, you know, it's like saying I'm a good person. Like, what do you mean you're a good person? Are you patient? Are you generous with your time? Are you a hard worker? I mean, these are all characteristics that I think make people good people, but they're very different characteristics, because you could be someone who's very generous with your time but very impatient with people, or you could be someone who like is incredibly patient with people but like, you know, can't doesn't like to share, you know, or you know, you could have great empathy but you don't whatever, you don't understand, like, I don't know. I'm again yapping. All right. Let's flip this bad boy. Oh, did I just assume your gender? Yes, I did assume your gender because you're the Jersey Devil. And oh, you actually know what? I don't know if the Jersey Devil's a dude. I'd assume, right? Well, whatever. They're the 13th child of mom leads, but whatever. Yeah, so I carved this. I posted a short up here on YouTube. I got roasted by some woodworker guy who's like, all you did was glue some scraps together. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I did. You aptly described what I did. And he's like, you should do something cool, like get a chainsaw. And I was like, great. No, I'm not using a chainsaw. I live in the burbs. If I used a chainsaw, to cut my projects, my neighbors would hate me. If I had more distance, or I had my own space. Actually, no, that's not true. I do have my own space. I rent my own space, but like if I had my own like indoor studio, if I was going to be using like carving power tools, which I don't know. I'm not going to say it's cheating because I use power tools for all this stuff, but it's like, I don't know how much fun that would be. They're very dangerous. Anything that can carve wood has to be incredibly sharp. I'd actually think I'd rather be carving marble. I feel like that's actually safer in some ways. I'd probably use like a grinder, like an angle grinder, and get like the what do you call it? Get the right discs for wood, you know, for rough cuts and finishes and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know where that dude lives. Maybe he makes amazing, amazing. Maybe he's like the master of chainsaw bears or something. I don't know. Maybe he knows something I don't. But like, I'm short on cash lately, and I have this wood, and I have these tools already. Why am I going to go out and buy new tools when I have all these tools that I know how to use, that I enjoy using? You know, like, I get it. Everyone's real brave when everyone's an expert on the internet. But like, seriously, why didn't you get a chainsaw? Like, yeah, that's a great idea. I would love to get a chainsaw. I used to have a chainsaw. I actually think that chainsaw, which was my uncle's chainsaw, is probably at my parents' house currently. But you know what? Like, oh no, that's just. I don't really hate my neighbors, so I don't really want to start using the chainsaw in my, you know, duplex neighborhood. How am I going to explain to all these, like, suburban, these suburban professionals that, like, no, a guy on the internet said I had to start using a chainsaw. They'll be like, go touch grass. And they'd be right. So these are colors I mixed over the summer with for the Camp Fatima banner. The banner for the play for the summer camp I volunteer at, and sometimes what I would do is I would just like mix a bunch of color, put them in Tupperwares or whatever, like plastic takeout containers, because, you know, if I'm using wide amount of spaces, I'm just mixing them on the palette. Two things are going to happen. Either those colors are going to not be enough and I'll have to remix, and then those patches will never match again, in all honesty, or, you know, or I could waste a lot of my life trying to match up those colors, or I can mix them in medium to large quantities and then put a lid on them so the water doesn't get out, whatever, or so they don't dry out on me. Acrylics, what I love about acrylics is they're really versatile and they can go on almost any surface. They're easy to mix. They're fairly cheap compared to like oil. But they dry fast. And some days I'm like, oh, they dry so fast. And some days I'm like, oh, they dry so fast. It's a double-edged sword when your colors dry that fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, like, it's great when you're trying to rush through something. But if you're doing a large area and you need to take your dang time, you know. It was so fun. I'm painting a banner with some of the kids at work, my enrichment kids, and they're like, well, how do we get this to dry faster? And I was like, it's already drying faster. This is as fast as it's going to dry. And also, like, just move on to another part. To me, I was like, no, actually, you want to try and work it out a little bit more. and they're like dying for it to be finished up. All right. Either way. Don't remember why I was putting them on my table, but that brown. Where's the brown? I've been making a lot of these wooden pieces, despite my detractors on the internet. You know. Great. I'm assuming because this guy wanted me to get a chainsaw, he was not particularly an art lover. Because I feel like that's one of those like things that people used, like sculptors I knew used to make fun of people. Like, oh, you can just like get a shop on the side of the road and make chainsaw bears if you really just wanted to make your art and whatever. Not have to worry about what other people think. And I'm like back then I was like, yeah, that'd be terrible. Now I'm like, actually, that kind of sounds dope. Do I want to make chainsaw bears? No, I would probably make chainsaw skeletons or something. But it'd be fun to take like live wood and like, you know, take something like that'll rip it up nasty, like a angle grinder, and just like go to town on it. I kind of wonder what the quality would be like after. Not like whether the art would be good, but like, yo, what happens to this? Like, so when you chop down a log, right? That's live wood, and it's not. You know, there's a lot of moisture still in it. There's probably a lot of sap in it, depending on the breed of wood, right? Like pine, it's like filled with pine tar, which is kind of great. But if you're building furniture with something that's live, that can actually be a nightmare because furniture, you want surfaces to touch, ends to meet. Like if you build legs onto a table, right? The problem is as the moisture content leaves, the structural, whatever you want to call it, the structure of the wood is going to change slowly over time. So it might bend a little bit. So a lot of times what will happen is people will get what we call kiln dried wood. I'm realizing how high this is now. Maybe I need to lower this because I'm like looking up at it. And the beauty of kiln dried wood is that that piece of wood, once you cut it, is essentially going to keep its shape because it's been dried usually about a year, I believe, in a kiln. And a kiln is usually just like a dry shed with like a heater attached to it. Or maybe nowadays, a lot of times it's like a shipping container that is like, not like kiln hot, like not like but it's like maybe 200 degrees in there. And the idea is you're slowly baking the wood and getting all the moisture out. And then all of that kind of aching and breaking and twisting and cracking happens in the kiln. So when it comes out a year later, or how many months later, depending on it, how much you need it to be dried out, it'll keep its shape, the shape you're building with. Yeah, with this orange, this really kind of feels crazy. This is like a real weird tan. All right. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not. Some people just use like metal sheds and just attach heaters to them or vents to them. You know, you're not really like baking it. It's not even as hot as an oven, and certainly not as hot as like a clay kiln, whether it's wood fire or whatever. But get all the moisture out. But that's kind of why I like using this scrap wood or leftover stuff from like Home Depot. So this piece, don't even know where I got the wood from. Might have been my parents' house. No, I probably bought some of this wood. Right, some of this is like dowels I had for other projects and whatever. Yeah, but yeah, if it's not kiln dried, right? Like if I just did like if I did bushcraft or something where I just take stuff I found out in the woods and start carving it, that's all well and good until it starts to change shape. And now if I'm just carving a solid piece, right? Let's say I'm making an animal or a human figure out of a solid piece of wood. That'll change, but it'll be, you know, imperceivable by your average human being. But if it's something like one of these pieces where there's bits attached to other bits, and all of this stuff is basically it's dowel and glue. Like I drill a hole, stick a dowel in, glue it, and then cut off the excess. Over time, that's gonna like the twisting and bending might make things pop off or things not look right or change shape. Actually, this might even be doing that a little bit because of the moisture level change between going outside, inside, and in my basement. But whatnot, whatevs. You got to just deal with what you got. That's what I try and do. I'm trying to make something out of nothing. Especially because lately, the cost of supplies have been going through the roof, and I feel like I've been I've been spending an exorbitant amount of money on art supplies, and I cannot afford to do that any longer. So I'm now basically going back to my neurotic, resourceful self. Oh, I already have wood. Let's make something out of this. Oh, I already have these canvases I bought a while ago. Okay, well, I'm going to make a series of little paintings. Speaking of which, this Friday, I have an opening in Jersey City at Smush Gallery. I'm part of a 6-person show at Smush Gallery. Actually, no, it might be 5-person because I think I'm counting Caitlin twice. Caitlin is a visual artist and dancer who's also the curator at one of the co-directors of the Smush Gallery. And she has a series of pieces she's putting into the show. It's all about studies. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically the French word for studies. So it's going to be me, Lucy Rovetto, who I've shown with but never met, Dory Dalberg, who I've seen at Smush Gallery, but I don't know if I've actually met in person. I'm bad with names. Who else? Bill Rude, who I've known for years, whose work I love, who does a lot of like, he'll kind of stay on one, he'll do a whole series of drawings based on like, he does a lot of cats because he's a cat person like me, but he kind of, his work in itself kind of feels like a study. And it's fun because we used to show together originally at Love is the Message, LITM in Jersey City, where I met him. And he's also a subscriber. Shout out to Bill Rude. Also a good dude, fun guy to talk to. And it's nice to have friends who are also artists sometimes because we can be like, he gets it. Especially, it's nice to have friends your age. Because I feel like all I do is hang out with children. Which is fine. I get paid for it most of the time, except that it's my own beloved children. But, they have to hang out with me. They rely on me for resources and safety. So, like, that relationship is never going to be like, maybe not until they're adults, but like, that relationship is, your own children kind of need y'all. Close that. But I'll just double check how much power I have left in this thing. Oh my gosh, how do I check this? Here we go. Whoa. I got 14%. How long have I been doing this stream for, though? I don't know how to check that. Oh, there we go. 24 minutes. Okay, we're going to do this for a little while longer. Because I've got other work I got to get done. It'll be fun being in another show with Bill. And I love showing at Caitlin. I love showing at Smush Gallery because they're always they do all kinds of different shows. They deal with a lot of different kinds of artists. Particularly, they focus on um, uh, reaching out to artists of color and artists of different genders and LGBTQIA artists and women artists. And it's nice that Bill and I are included. You know, the token straight guys. I'm just joking. I don't know if Bill. I always feel like I'm the token straight guy sometimes. But no, it's a cool environment, and I've met a lot of friends there and artists I really respect who I now get to call my friend, which is nice. Um, However, you know, it's a cool environment with like-minded people who are trying to keep Jersey City fun and interesting, and for artists. I feel like for now it's not. Lately, maybe the past 10 years, I feel like that hasn't always been the case. And I think there's a lot of people still kind of holding on to the Jersey City as a place for artists vibes. It feels like some days Newark is more open to being affordable for artists of all calibers. But I don't really want to live in Newark because the living situation isn't great. All the apartments are way more expensive, and I don't really want to rent a whole. I can't afford to rent a whole house right now, and I've been looking, and also I am trying to stay as close to my kids as possible. So I'm really probably not going to be moving out of this area for a little while. Though as soon as my son graduates, my youngest graduates from high school, I'm probably going to start looking in the Jersey City area. I'd like Rahway because Rahway is like a good split. Like it's like, you know, on the train line. It has a nice art scene. It's fairly suburban and also fairly affordable. And also it's what do you call it? It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's diverse. Like I love Metuchen. And in some ways, Metuchen is ethnically diverse, but it's not diverse in socioeconomics. Like, if I could move back to Metuchen, that would be great, but I'm too poor for Metuchen. There's really not a lot there for me. I can't afford it. Um, I do like living on the outskirts of it, though. I spend a lot of time there. And sometimes I slip and tell people that's where I live, because I live so close to it in Edison, but whatever. Let me not dox myself. But I don't know, Rahway seems cool. Rahway has a art scene. Rahway has the Union County Theater. I'm kind of shocked by how limited the arts are in Union County. I live in Middlesex, and I feel like Middlesex is thriving with opportunities for like mid-career artists like myself. Maybe it's because Rutgers is here, but Kane's in Union County, and Kane has a like respectable art and education program. It certainly has a good theater program. And Elizabeth is a huge city. I'm kind of shocked by how little visual arts there are in Elizabeth. I mean, like there's a visual arts center in Summit, which is wonderful, whoop-de-doo, but my problem with Summit is it's not super accessible to lower income artists. It's great. It has a really interesting program. The artwork is great. The instructors there are phenomenal, but I think it's out of reach for a lot of like artists in the area or art students trying to figure out what they're doing. And there's not any affordable space for artists who are not already independently wealthy or married to people who can, fund their lifestyle, right? Unless you're married to money, you're not really doing much in Summit. I know there's like a gallery there. There's a couple galleries there. They're fine, whatever. Not my cup of tea, but every once in a while, and then they're like, wow, how'd you guys get this person to agree to show here? Oh, well, actually, that's not true. I think Jesus Nunez just opened up a gallery. He has this abstract shop in. I'm not saying shop because it's a store. I'm saying shop because it's like he has one gallery he focuses on like abstraction, another one that focuses on realism. And I think the realism one might be in Summit, which I don't know why. I guess there are rich people there who buy paintings. Who knows? Couldn't be me. Yeah. So I think I'm going to end this here now before my laptop dies. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll hit this one up again later on, probably tomorrow after I come back from figure drawing. All right. Talk to you later.